high in the cold spine of the mountains, where pine trees stood like silent witnesses and the wind carried old secrets. Through the valleys lived a man most people avoided. His name was Eli Stone. He was widowed, broad-shouldered, hardened by years of loss, and known for keeping to himself. After his wife died during a brutal winter, Eli disappeared from the town below and built a life higher up the mountain with his 3 children. People spoke of him in whispers. Some said he was dangerous. Others said grief had made him cruel. But the truth was simpler and sadder. Eli Stone was a man who had buried love and decided never to dig it up again. Every morning before the sun rose, he worked the land with silent determination, chopping wood, hunting, repairing the cabin with hands that never shook, even when his heart did. His children were his entire world now. Caleb, the oldest, quiet and observant. Ruth, gentle but stronger than she looked. And little Noah, whose laughter still echoed where joy had once lived freely. Eli did not speak much, but when he did, his voice carried the weight of promises he intended to keep. Down in the valley town, life moved differently. Gossip traveled faster than the river, and judgment sat comfortably in every doorway. That was where Anna lived. She was young, kind, and untouched by the cruelty of the world, not because she was weak, but because she chose gentleness even when life offered none in return. Orphaned early, raised by relatives who saw her more as a burden than a blessing, Anna grew up learning to be invisible. She worked quietly, prayed quietly, and dreamed quietly, mostly of a life where she could belong somewhere, anywhere. When the winter harvest failed and debts piled high, her relatives made a decision without asking her. They said it was for survival. They said it was God's will. They said many things, but Anna heard only one. She was being sent to the mountain to marry the widower with 3 children, a man twice her age, a man she had never met, a man people feared. The night before she left, Anna sat alone by a small window staring at the moon. She wasn't afraid of marriage. She was afraid of being unloved. She had been given away before in smaller ways, passed from house to house, responsibility to responsibility. This time felt final. She packed her few belongings carefully, folding her plain dresses as if neatness could protect her dignity. She whispered a prayer not for escape but for strength. She did not ask for happiness. She asked only to be useful, to be kind, to survive whatever waited for her beyond the trees. When Anna arrived at the mountain cabin, winter was already loosening its grip, but the air still cut sharp. Eli was outside when she came, splitting logs with precise, controlled strikes. He stopped when he saw her, not because he was startled, but because he didn't know how to move next. She looked smaller than he expected, not fragile, just quiet. The children stood behind him, watching with wide eyes. This was not the reunion of romance or relief. It was the meeting of 2 lives forced together by circumstance. Eli set the axe down slowly, wiped his hands, and nodded once. He did not smile. He did not reach for her. He simply said her name as if testing whether it belonged in his world. Inside the cabin, silence filled the space between them. Anna noticed everything. The careful order, the worn furniture, the way the children stayed close but not too close to their father. She understood immediately that this was not a house of cruelty, but of grief. Eli explained the rules simply. Everyone worked. Everyone ate together. No shouting, no lies. He told her she would have her own space and that nothing would be demanded of her beyond respect and care for the children. His words were firm, but his eyes avoided hers, as if he were ashamed of the arrangement forced upon them both. Anna listened, nodded, and thanked him. That single word, thank you, hung in the air longer than expected. Eli hadn't heard gratitude directed at him in years. The children were cautious at first. Caleb studied her as if measuring whether she would stay. Ruth watched her hands, curious and hopeful. Noah asked bluntly if she was their new mother. The question hit harder than Anna expected, but she didn't flinch. She knelt to his level and said she didn't know what she was yet, but she promised to be there. That answer, honest and gentle, shifted something unseen. Over the next days, Anna learned the rhythms of mountain life. She cooked meals that warmed more than the body, mended clothes, listened more than she spoke. She never tried to replace the children's mother, never spoke ill of the woman whose memory still lived in every corner. Instead, she honored her by loving what she had left behind. Eli watched all of this in silence. He noticed how the children laughed more freely, how Noah slept through the night again, how Ruth began to hum while working. He noticed that Anna never crossed boundaries, never asked for affection, never tried to soften him, and that unsettled him more than resistance ever could. At night, when the cabin was quiet, Eli sat alone and wondered why this woman, given to him by desperation, treated his family with such care when she owed them nothing. He reminded himself not to feel. Feelings were dangerous. Feelings were what winter took from him years ago, but something began to change slowly, quietly, like snow melting beneath the soil. One evening, a storm rolled in fast and violent. Eli was late returning from checking traps. Anna stood at the door, lantern in hand, refusing to sit until she saw him come through the trees. When he finally arrived, soaked and exhausted, he saw her standing there not as a duty, not as an order, but as concern. No one had waited for him like that since his wife died. He said nothing, but that night, for the first time in years, he slept without the weight on his chest, crushing his breath. This was not a story of passion or sudden love. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous to a broken man: hope. And neither of them yet knew the truth that would soon surface, a truth about Anna, about the children, and about a past that would shock everyone who believed they understood this mountain family. If this story has already touched your heart, stay with us. Subscribe to the channel, because what unfolds in the next chapter will challenge everything you think you know about sacrifice, destiny, and the quiet power of kindness. Spring arrived quietly in the mountains, not with celebration but with patience. Snow retreated inch by inch, revealing earth that had endured and survived. Eli Stone noticed the change the way he noticed most things, without comment, but with deep awareness. The cabin felt different now, lighter, warmer, not because the wind had softened, but because Anna had become part of its rhythm. She moved through the days with steady grace, never demanding space, yet somehow filling the empty corners grief had carved. The children followed her naturally, not because she told them to, but because she listened. Caleb began asking her questions about the world beyond the trees. Ruth learned to braid herbs and spoke more freely. Noah laughed loudly again, the kind of laugh that startled birds from branches. Eli told himself it was temporary. Everything good always was. One afternoon, a man from the valley rode up the mountain. His arrival disturbed the calm like a stone dropped into still water. Eli recognized him instantly. Mr. Hale, a man who trafficked in words and debts, the same man who had arranged the marriage. Anna froze when she saw him, her hands tightening around her apron. Hale wasted no time with pleasantries. He spoke of obligations, of agreements made in hunger and fear. Then, with a voice too loud for the children's ears, he revealed the truth he had come to collect on. Anna was never meant to be a wife in the way people assumed. She had been given away to protect a secret, one that would have ruined her if it had surfaced in the valley. She had once refused a powerful man's advances, and in doing so made an enemy. Sending her to the mountain had been a way to erase her quietly. The words landed heavily. Eli felt anger rise, sharp and protective. Not the wild rage of his younger years, but something steadier, something rooted. He told Hale to leave. When the man threatened consequences, Eli stepped forward, his voice calm but final. There will be no more taking from this house. Hale saw something in Eli's eyes, then something unmovable, and left without another word. That night, Anna finally spoke. She told Eli everything, about the accusation she never deserved, about choosing silence over disgrace, about accepting a life she didn't choose because it was the only way to remain whole. She did not cry while she spoke. She simply told the truth. Eli listened, every word stitching a deeper respect into his chest. When she finished, he did not offer pity. He offered something far rarer. He believed her. He told her she was safe, not because she belonged to him, but because she belonged there. The following weeks tested them. Rumors reached the mountain, sharp and cruel. Some in the valley demanded answers. Eli ignored them. He focused on what mattered. One evening, he gathered the children and Anna by the fire. He told them a truth, of his own, that their mother had believed family was built by choice, not blood or obligation. He told them Anna had chosen them every day since she arrived. He asked the children how they felt. Ruth spoke first. She feels like home. Caleb nodded. Noah wrapped his arms around Anna's waist. No one argued. Eli made a decision then, not out of fear but out of clarity. He rode down the mountain the next morning and faced the town. He spoke plainly. He defended Anna's name. He challenged anyone to say otherwise to his face. Silence followed. Not because they agreed, but because they understood. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Life didn't become perfect. It became real. Anna stayed not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she wanted to. Eli never rushed what grew between them. He treated her with honor, patience, and care. Love, when it came quietly. Like spring. Like healing. Years later, people would tell the story wrong. They would say she was given away. They would say he saved her. But the truth was simpler and more shocking. Two broken lives chose dignity. A family chose kindness. And in a place where the world expected something ugly, something beautiful survived. If this story moved you, if you believe quiet strength can change lives, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. More stories like this, stories of hope, courage, and unexpected grace, are waiting for you.